Thanks for tuning in. This video will show you how to easily place an amniotic membrane graft at the macula using the Guayama retinal brush. For more videos, please subscribe to the Retina Kitten channel. This eye has a high degree of myopia and a large macular hole with staphyloma. Another retina surgeon has attempted to repair this, but the hole remains open by implanting an amniotic membrane. I hope to close this difficult macular hole case. I used ICG in this case to stain the residual ILM, but most of it has been removed by the previous surgeon. We first load the amniotic membrane onto the Guayama retinal brush. I cut out a 0.3 by 0.3 mm amniotic membrane and load it on the brush tip. Make sure the sticky side is facing away from the brush. Make sure the sleeve closes prior to inserting into the eye. Wrap the membrane over the brush like folding a burrito. You don't want too big of a piece of membrane because it won't fit inside the sleeve. I use retinal forceps to smooth out the membrane over the brush so that the sleeve can slide to cover it. The loading is probably the trickiest part of this procedure, but because it is done outside of the eye, you can do this while your staff is setting up the vitrectomy machine. Put the membrane on a dry gauze to help you load it onto the brush. We start with an air fluid exchange. Leaving a small amount of fluid behind will help you unload the membrane more easily. The Guayama brush is inserted into the eye and the sleeve is retracted, exposing the membrane. Simply paint the membrane over the macula. When the membrane touches the residual fluid, it releases itself from the brush. The sticky side of the membrane will help you stick it to the desired macular location. Don't worry about exact placement while you first unload the membrane. You can use the brush to adjust its position later. When you use the brush to reposition the membrane, I avoid touching the retina with the brush directly, even though it is a soft tip. Use the membrane as a cushion between the brush and the retina to avoid retinal trauma. Once you are happy with the membrane position, you can do an air fluid exchange to remove the residual fluid. Be very careful here, and I use very gentle aspiration to avoid displacing the membrane. You can see the fluid being slowly aspirated while the membrane still sits at the macula. Sometimes the membrane can be displaced after aspiration, and simply use the brush to recenter the membrane. You can use the brush to unfold the edges of the membrane, as well as gently pushing onto the macula to make it more secure. Remove as much fluid at the end of the case as possible. A dry membrane is more adherent to the macula. You can now perform a gas exchange with your favorite gas. However, there is a chance that the gas inflow will blow away the membrane. Sometimes, I leave the membrane in place under air to avoid this situation. If I perform a gas exchange, I would point the infusion cannula away from the macula to avoid gas blowing directly at the posterior pole and displacing the membrane. In this final step, I hope you all enjoy this video. If you are a retina surgeon and want to try this brush, please reach out to me at the email provided. I hope the Guayama retinal brush will help you in difficult macular hole cases and to shorten your surgical time. Remember to subscribe to the Retina Kitten channel for more videos on this and other upcoming retinal devices and tools.